Hi, I'm Richard Zato. I'm president of Rutan Aircraft Flying Experience. We're a nonprofit organization focused on Rutan home-built designs, and I'm going to show you pre-flight on a really awesome airplane called the Speed Canard. We use this airplane for training to transition people into the long, easy, and very easy, and I'm going to walk you around and show you what it's all about. It's got two independent canopies, so each cockpit has its own canopy latch. The first pre-flight usually starts in most airplanes in the cockpit. You make sure that the master switch is off, the magnetos are off, and start with the flow. So I start back here in the back left-hand side of the cockpit. These are circuit breaker panels. Check that those are in, that it should be in. Switches. The switches are just like any other airplane. You have avionics master, your light switches, an aux boost pump for starting and for takeoff and landing. The airplane doesn't have a manual primer like a lot of light airplanes. It has a button that you push, so when a boost pump is on, it'll squirt gas into the primers. Throttle, mixture, carburetor heat, and then this blue knob is the propeller because it has a constant speed prop back there. The engine instruments are right here, manifold pressure, and a tachometer. The tachometer looks a little funny because the airplane was made in Germany and it's spins the wrong way and it's got different colors, but you get used to it pretty quick. The rest of these switches are associated with the landing gear. Unique feature of this airplane is you can set the thing down on its nose or halfway down. So you raise the gear on the ground, which is a little unnerving to retract pilots, and push this button and the airplane will just kneel, we call it, just go down about halfway down. So the rest of the stuff is standard airplane: airspeed, attitude indicator, altimeter, radios. Down here, the engine instruments, they're all in centigrade, again, because it comes from Europe. But, you know, if everything's in the green, it's all good. The trim is on the stick. It's these two levers you push together. And they did a really unique thing with the trim indicator. It's on this cable, which is part of the trim system, so you can see the cable move back and forth as you trim, and then there's a scale right there. The push to talk for the airplane's right here. Another feature the Speed Canard has that's pretty cool is the rudder pedals adjust. A lot of times you get in an airplane, your seat adjusts so you can reach the rudder pedals properly. Well, they're adjust. They're part of the airframe. So in the Speed Canard, you pull this cable with the little ball on the end, and it releases a couple of detents, and then you can move the rudder pedals fore and aft to where you want them, and then release that cable and they'll lock right there. Coming around here when you do your pre-flight, here's the elevator. Just like most airplanes, you check the movement of the flight control, look at the leading edge. A unique feature of this airplane that most long easies and very easies don't have is it has a stall warning horn because it's a certified airplane. So FAA requirement to have that. The landing lights right here, the nose gear's right here. Kind of look it all over. These airplanes, it's very critical to check your shimmy damper and make sure that the nose wheel isn't loose and flopping around. And an easy way to do that, the airplane's really easy to pick up and just kind of kick it and make sure it doesn't swing freely, that it has some resistance. Pitot tube's right here, pull that off. Check the leading edge of your canard. The canard's a very critical airfoil. It's very laminar flow, so keeping it clean is really important. Just having bugs on the leading edge of the canard will slow you down a little bit. So canopy hinges right here. They're, I think, a little flimsy, but this airplane is a Grobe 103 glider. They took the fuselage from and added a canard and a wing to. So these are Grobe canopies. The fuel tank right here, check that your latch is closed. And then the leading edge of the wing, again, it's a pretty laminar flow airfoil, so you want to keep it clean. You check the movement of the rudders. If you watched our previous video on the introduction, you know how these work. Aileron, just like you would on a Cessna 172. Check for play, walk around, check the engine area, alternator belt, look around inside. It's a pusher, so anything that comes off this airplane is going to go through the prop. So you really want to look at fasteners, cowling screws, stuff like that, and make sure that nothing comes off and damages the prop. The MT props are great props, but they're a little bit expensive. Another interesting thing about this airplane is look at the exhaust. It's right here. Because it was built in Europe and they have different noise standards over there, this actually has a muffler. But another cool thing about it that most long easy and very easy don't have is it has heat, and it works really well. So check the leading edges of your blades, make sure there's no FOD damage anywhere. All the cam locks, fasteners. Back here, it's really easy to check the oil. The engine is just the same thing that's in a 172. It's an 0320 Lycoming. So you pull it out, check it. Well, it's got 6 quarts just like it always does because it doesn't burn much oil. And look around in there. Close that door. Another aileron. Check for freedom of movement. See this tape? This tape is a gap seal, and it's required. It's in the maintenance manual for the airplane, so we always make sure this tape is well adhered. It helps keep a smoother airflow over the aileron. And again, our rudder that only moves outboard, landing lights, and the leading edge of this airplane. Like every other airplane, you should get down and look at your brakes. These are standard brakes, just like every airplane, Cleveland type brakes. And you look for any kind of leak, wear. Michelin gave us these tires. Thank you, Michelin. We're wearing them out pretty good. So down here is the fuel sump. I'm not going to do it, but you know, you sump your tank. Each tank has a sump, and then there's a central low point tank right here. So that's pretty much it. Not much pre-flight in this airplane. So come on out and fly it, and we'll have a good time.